Hello everyone and welcome to this new learning series about Windows 10. Today is going to be a lot of quick tips and tricks about Windows 10 and I hope you enjoy it. If you are joining live, thanks for being here today, and if you're watching this on the recording, thanks for being here as well. So if you're joining live, just a reminder that you can put questions into the chat and I will most likely be very able to answer them. And if I don't get to them, make sure that you follow up with me with an email or something like that, or we can connect up after the end of the meeting as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, as I said, we are doing the Noon Learning series on Windows 10 today. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera now, and I'm going to pop it back on later for something, but I'm just going to turn it off for now. Okay, so what is our agenda for today? So first thing for our agenda is I have a quick little video to show the evolution of Windows, have a little nostalgia in some of there and see if you recognize some of those things, just to see how far Windows has come over the ages. And then I'm going to go into lots of cool hints. And now these are things that I am using on my desktop PC while I am here at work. So there's under some restrictions because I'm on a work device, but everything that I'm showing you works on my device. So even with something that has restrictions, you're going to find out a lot of these tools work. If you have your own Windows PC at home, be it a laptop or desktop, you're going to be able to find even more of these things that are going to be able to work for you. But just know that that's the device that I am using right now. I'm going to share with you some of my favorite keyboard shortcuts using Windows. I mean, there's all sorts of keyboard shortcuts for all sorts of programs, but even Windows has some specialized keyboard shortcuts that I will show you. And then we'll have a little wrap up at the end. And conclude not only this session, the Windows 10 session, but the Noon Learning series for the general public. It has been a long run since February, but it has been really neat to be able to share about all these different topics. So with that, let's take a look at the evolution of Windows. So this is just a really super quick video just to kind of show you some of the screens from the years. I don't know about you, but I seen some very familiar sights and heard some very familiar sounds from all those different Windows, different iterations over the years. Some of those welcome sounds and some of those unwelcome sounds when you're hitting errors or getting that blue screen of death. Doesn't happen so much anymore. Windows has really kind of come around as an operating system, become so much more user-friendly, I think, than it has in the past. But just a little quick back look about Windows. Think back maybe for yourself. What was your favorite iteration of Windows? I can tell you that I remember Windows 98 for sure. When Windows 7 came out, I thought that was the start of the modern era of Windows. Windows 8, kind of a miss. I never heard of a Windows 9, believe it or not. Vista was very much of a miss. And now we're on Windows 10, and I think that's kind of where it's going to stay and just go from there. All right, so with that, let's take a look at some of these cool hints that I want to share with you about. Okay, now these are in no particular order, just a bunch of things that I have found that really seem to work well for me, and I thought that I would share them with you as well. One of the main first ones is the dark and light mode. I almost run dark mode in absolutely everything that I do. I find that with the number of hours that I'm spending on devices, having that dark contrast instead of the light contrast mode is really something easy for me to be able to handle. And how do you find that? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go into settings and then into personalization and then choose colors. So I'm going to go ahead and go into settings, and let me grab that window, and we're going to go into personalization and then colors. And then you can choose whichever mode you want, the dark mode or the light mode. And then you can choose your accent color to go as well. So kind of you can go off of a riff of what your wallpaper color is. I kind of have this iconography from actually an Apple event that's coming up, and I just thought it was kind of cool. So I kind of picked this Windows color pink that you see here. And you can see this around the edge. Now if I change this to light mode, one thing you saw that changed is my bar. Another thing that you saw change is this big window right here. Now my eyes just kind of did a big pop-o out of my head when that light came on like that. That is an awful lot of white space. Now you need white space, but it's an awful lot to cast an awful lot of that white blue light at you. So if I change it back to that dark mode, we're going to see not only did my taskbar change, but of course that window did as well. So again, dark mode. I like it. Maybe give it a try for yourself and see what you think. We're going to talk about pinning apps across the bottom. You can see my taskbar is quite full. I like to start things from my taskbar instead of having desktop shortcuts or even going into the start menu. I find this is easy to do. What it kind of mirrors is my Chrome setup. You can see I have a lot of iconography across the top here, and then I have iconography across the bottom. It just works really well for me. So when you open up a program, okay, opening up an app on Windows, in order to pin it to the taskbar so that you don't have to search for it again, once it's open and running, you are going to right click on it, and I'm just going to choose this notepad app that I have here, and it's already pinned. And what you would choose is it's going to say pin to taskbar, okay? I don't want to unpin this now, but all you would do is choose to pin it. Conversely, if you don't want something pinned to the taskbar anymore, you would right click it and choose to unpin from the taskbar. But I like pinning the apps. It seems like, and I make them a little bit smaller so I can fit a whole bunch there. These are things that I use not on, well, a lot of them are on a daily basis, so I just kind of keep them here for quick access. Next one I want to show you is how to snap apps. Now I'm working on a multiple screen setup, but I'm going to still be able to demonstrate with you on this on my main screen right here. So when I talk about LC, or RC was right click, LC left click. So I'm going to take this window right here. I'm going to actually left click and drag it to the edge of my screen. And you're going to see kind of how this shadow kind of bumps out. Like I'm kind of like just bumping the edge of the screen. And you see kind of where that edge is going to show up. Now I'm going to do that, and what that did is it automatically divided my screen in half, and then I could choose another window to go in this other half right here. So that's going to be able to snap apps and have two apps so you can multitask or compare things. You could do it with two different windows of Chrome. You could do it with a window of Chrome and a window of Edge. It could be a window of Edge and Word or whatever that you want to do. But when you're working on only one screen, sometimes being able to use this snapping is a really good way to do it, and it really clicks it in easy for you to be able to see it. And of course, then you can just return to the full screen by using the maximize button over here. So snapping apps, really, really awesome thing to do. Camera app. There is a camera app built right into Windows 10. I do have it pinned right here across on my taskbar, but in order for you to find it, you can simply go into the search, which is right next to the Windows button that's down in the lower left-hand corner. So if I wanted to search for it, just so you can see how that would be, I'm going to go ahead and type that search, and I'm going to type camera. And because it's highlighted already, all I have to do is hit the Enter key, and it's going to automatically launch that app. Now, when it opens up, you're going to see that it opened up into the USB camera. So I could go ahead and take a video of this, or I could take a still shot of this, and it automatically saves it into my Photos app. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a quick still picture, change it to the still camera, and go ahead and take a picture. And you can see that it saved it right down over here, and it's already saved in my folders. Same thing for video. But if you are on a device that you have another camera attached to it, you can actually choose that as well by switching the camera. So I happen to have my .cam put on into this, and so I'm going to go ahead and switch the camera to my .cam. And at that point, my .cam automatically turns on, and you're going to see a few more functions actually showing up over here. So I could start a video and be able to record whatever that I wanted to record on my document camera. So if I were to do any kind of demonstration down here, or I want to show anything, I can put that and have that on my whiteboard. Could be anything that I could show here, okay? So that could be a video. I could do the same thing and then just take a still of something. But then there's also another option that came up over here that is a document scanner. Of course, because it's got a document camera. So I'm going to grab this document. I'm going to put it over here, and I'm going to choose this. And you're going to see how the Windows Camera app automatically highlights it, that pink edge that it sees that's what the size of the document is. Because that's what's highlighted, I'm going to go ahead and say take document and take that. And it automatically did a scan of that document, and it saves it to my photos. Next one over here is another option. Because I'm on a document camera and I do have a whiteboard, I can choose this to take the whiteboard image. Now, I do have a little bit of white over here, so that's why it's probably kind of seeing something different. But notice if I put my hand here, how it kind of takes that pink, and it would just get what the whiteboard was. So instead of just taking a picture of your whiteboard, it actually makes it more like a document scan. So plus 4, let's have a little smiley face, and let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and put my hand here just because I can, and so that it just gets the whiteboard. And now it took that image. Let me show you the difference between the camera image and that other image. Okay, if I just take a picture of it, I get this. Now we can review our ones that we took right here. And I can see all my photos because like I said, it opens up in that camera app. And see the difference between just the picture and then the scan. Really interesting. It almost brightened it up a little bit here between those two. Once they're in this photos collection, you can choose to share them out any way that you need to. You can insert them into any document. You could load them up to your LMS, whatever that you needed to do. So that is the built-in camera app on your Windows 10 device. Weather app. This is an awesome one to have as well. Again, that's a built-in. I do have it pinned to my taskbar, but again, you could search for it. I'm going to go ahead and launch that weather app. I have chosen my location as my current location as I want to pop it up. Not only do you get your weather right here, but you can go in and get maps. So you can get radar maps, temperature maps, precipitation maps. Got a little snow over the lake today. You can get weather news right here into this app. You can also see some historical data of what's going on. And you can also choose different locations. I like to think about Vero Beach. I have family that lives there. Oh, look at the difference of that. Boy, 80 sure would feel good right about now compared to our 41 here in my current location. So I love this weather app. A good way to do it. I always used to go to weather.com, but it's too many ads. This is built right into your Windows 10 device. The calculator app. Oh my gosh, people do not know how powerful the calculator app really is. So let me go ahead and put that up for you. And we're going to go into the menu here, and it usually just starts up into the standard menu. So you have a standard calculator here, whatever you want to use. But inside that menu, there are so many different calculators. You can change it to a scientific calculator, a graphing calculator, a programmer calculator, which I have no idea what that is. But one that I found really interesting is a date calculation. So from April 21st, and we're going to say down to June 18th, it is 58 days until my last day of school for this year. So I love that. So you get all sorts of different calculators right built into your Windows machine. The magnifier tool, again, I have that across my bottom taskbar right here. If I go ahead and launch that magnifier, you're going to see that it changes the screen a lot, and I can really zoom in on things. That might be beneficial, especially even if you're on a bigger screen, to be able to show these things. And as I'm moving my mouse around, it actually moves the screen around a little bit so you can see everything. And I can come back out and come out of that magnifier. Really, a really great way to do that. Let's talk about the snipping tool. Now I have that pinned across the bottom. There's a couple ways to launch it. I can do snip and sketch right here, or I can go into this Windows Ink down in my lower right hand corner and then just choose full screen snip. Now on that full screen snip, when that takes that picture, it's going to pop up into a new window, and then you're also presented with options that you can annotate this image as well. Now I'm working on a desktop device, so I could kind of draw with my mouse. It's a little hard, be able to put some of those things in there. But I do have a pen tablet mode that I have a pen tablet attached to this as well, so that I actually can be able to annotate a lot easier with that pen instead of trying to click with the mouse. So I have the pen. You can choose all the different colors, the intensity or the size of the pen. We have a pencil color, we have highlighter, the eraser, and of course you can pop up a ruler, and when you have that ruler, it'll automatically allow you to draw really nice and straight lines of where you want that at. You can choose to save that image or just copy it and put it into any old document that you want to. Now when I did this in the corner of the pen input, it automatically launched and it just took a whole screen snip. If I choose the other way to launch it from my shortcut down here, it's just going to open up blank, and then I can choose how I want to snip it. I can choose a now, and I love this, being able to time it out so that I get menus in my snips. And I can also choose what kind of snip. I can get this lasso, a different shape of a lasso, that window snip, or the full screen. So the snipping tool is an awesome, awesome thing that's built right into Windows 10. The pen input I have is just a little cheapy pen input. It's $24 on Amazon. This is the one exactly that I'm using right now. And it even says get an extra 10% off if you buy this now. So this is the one that I have attached. If you're looking for a little bit higher grade one, you can go to the one by Wacom, and I also have that one. Just change it back and forth which one I want to use. One's a little bit better quality, but if you have something you're not using a lot and you want to have that pen input for a desktop device, I highly recommend this Huion one that's right on Amazon. And I have these links, and I'll show you where those are at the end of the presentation as well. One thing that's kind of cool, but it is going to be going away, I'm going to warn you about that, is shake to minimize. So I have this main menu here. If I left click and shake this, all of my other windows have disappeared. Did you see that? That's pretty cool. Let me bring some of those windows back up. I'm going to bring my notepad back up and my weather up. And then I need to get a couple other windows up over here because that's where I'm seeing some of my other messages to myself. I'm going to bring the window to the front to the forward. And I'm going to left click and I'm going to hold right in that area at the top, and I'm going to shake it and it hides all the other windows. Pretty cool. I do know that that is going away in a Windows update. That's what it said it was going to sometime this summer, but maybe it won't, and it's still kind of a cool thing to do. Okay, just give me a second so I can get all my other windows back up here that I do need. Okay. All right. Next one. something that probably not a lot of people even see. And it's way down in this corner here. And I'm just going to press my control key so I can highlight down there. There is this little sliver of a line that will actually hide everything that's on your screen in one click. So if somebody's walking by or you're doing something that you don't want somebody else to see, you know, nothing that would be like illicit or anything, but you know, if you want to hide things, you can just click that once and it comes from once to turn it off and once to everything back. Love that little sliver way down there in that lower right hand corner. The notification center, next right to that sliver. Things that you might not see if you don't have a lot, make sure you show all of them, expand, is the night light. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera back on because I want you to see the difference. You're not going to see it on the screen, but you're going to see it on my face. Now I have the brightness at full level here on my Windows desktop. If I go into the notification center and I choose a night light, you're going to see how it changes on my face. Totally cuts that blue light off. And then if I turn it back on, it totally changes. Like I said, you can't see the screen change in my screen share, but you could see how it reflected on my face. And that is a big difference with that night light there. And of course you can get to the screen snip as well. Always a whole bunch of ways to do the same thing. There's that screen snip right down there. Adding the touch keyboard. I like to add the touch keyboard in the taskbar. You would right click and then show touch keyboard because it's a quick way to get to that emoji keyboard if you want to, just to keep that kind of handy. Personalizing your start menu. If you have a lot of programs installed but you only use a few of them very often, you can choose to put ones in like kind of your favorite area. So if I want to, I could take my calculator app, it's already there. I'll choose calendar, I right click on it and I say pin to start. And then I can move these little tiles around to kind of personalize my start window there. So these are the ones that I wanted to have in my start menu. Cortana, she's kind of like Siri or Google, so you can choose to talk to Cortana. Hey Cortana, tell me a joke. Hey Cortana, tell me a joke.
Why did the hipster burn his mouth on his coffee? Because he drank it before it was cool.
Oh, I don't know if that's very funny or Cortana, but it is something. And you can talk to Cortana, ask it all sorts of questions, just like you do your other personalized assistants. One last thing I want to show you about settings before we go into some of the keyboard shortcuts is ease of access. And I've said this before, sometimes when you're thinking about accessibility, they don't just make things easier for certain people, they make things easier for everyone. Like text size and cursor size and color. If I go into my settings app, I'm going to go back home and I'm going to go into ease of access. The first one I want to show you is this display and how to make the text bigger. If you are someone that needs your text a little bit bigger on your screen, you can choose that. You can choose to make everything bigger depending on your screen size and your level of sight. You can choose to change things. Mouse pointer, huge one. I like to keep mine pretty big, especially when I'm doing videos so that you can see where my cursor is at, but you can make it really big if you wanted to. Might be really helpful if you are using like an interactive board to be able to really see where that cursor is at. You can also have change what color you want it to be. You can inverse it, and you can even make it a custom color. So if you like to have a pink pointer, you can have a pink pointer if you want to. Now there's all sorts of different options that you can choose to do over there. We could probably spend an hour just on the ease of access options. I highly encourage you to take a look at that. These first three, those are the main ones that I find that make my life easy. So that's why I wanted to share it with you. All right, what else do we got here? Some keyboard shortcuts. Remember before I talked about snapping your apps that you could left click and drag it? Same thing as if you choose to hold down the Windows key and hit that left arrow, it snaps it as well. So you can bring it back as well. One really cool keyboard shortcut is Windows and V. Let me get that one more time. And Windows and V, and you can see your clipboard history. So everything that you might have copied and pasted today. So if you're like, oh, I wish I could go back and get that one little picture that I copied and pasted before, there they all are. Everything that you had, your clipboard history. Amazing. If you need to get to your emoji keyboard and you don't have the touch keyboard little shortcut down here, you can do your Windows plus the semicolon key, and up pops that emoji keyboard. A good way of like this is it's in a search function. So if I wanted to do food, oh, maybe not. It's not wanting to work. But you can see your current ones. You can see all the different categories. You can choose your skin type for the different emojis. Love that. Also has Cuboji. So those are using those text icons to make the emoji. And then also some symbols in here as well. Another keyboard shortcut. If you don't have the snipping tool pinned here, or you don't go to the Windows Ink, or you don't go over here to Notification Center, and you want a keyboard shortcut, Windows Shift S, and it opens up your screen snipping tools, and then you can choose however you want to do that. So I'm just going to snip that, and then the snip and sketch came up here. I can choose to open that, and then I can even edit on it and all that kind of stuff as well. So another way, as you find out in doing anything on a computer, always about 5 different ways to do exactly the same thing. A few more keyboard shortcuts. Show your desktop. If you just want to collapse all your windows, that's that kind of the same thing as that sliver, and it brings them all back. That is Windows D. Locking it. I'm not going to do that right now because we're in the middle of this session, but when you are walking away from your computer at home or at work, it's a good idea to lock it. And locking means it just locks it. It doesn't shut it down. It doesn't close all your apps. All that kind of stuff does. It just locks it so that you'd have to put your password back in. Especially really, really good in your business environment, school environment, but even a good practice while you're at home. If you need to maximize a current window, you can have Windows plus the arrow key. It maximizes it. The Alt keys, codes for foreign language letters. So if you're typing in something and you need to put a foreign language letter in, Alt plus all these different key codes here, and I have a link to this so that you'll be able to know where that is at and be able to put those different kind of characters in. Maybe you need to have an umlaut over something, or you need to have a tilde over something. You can see them listed all right here. And then you get to know your codes. That's the ones that you use really often. So we have the tilde over the lowercase n, Alt 164. So that's a really cool thing to know. Few more. That magnifier, remember I have mine pinned down here, but you can also use a keyboard shortcut to turn it on. Windows plus plus turns it on. Windows plus escape turns it off. Dictation. Did you know that this was right in Windows? If I put a new field in here and I hit Windows plus H, no matter what I say is going to go into that text field in any program. Notice I'm in Chrome. I could be in Word. I could be in Outlook. I could be anywhere. Hey everyone, let me show you what this dictation tool looks like. So you can see that it actually typed it all out right here for me. So that is that Command H for dictation. One cool one is the find function. I'm going to go ahead and put up my website, and I'm going to go into my newsletter, and I'm going to hit Control F while this is open. And I'm going to choose to put the word photo in here. Now, every time that Windows found the word photo on this web page, it shows it highlighted here. But what it also does is that you see all these little lines right here? You can hop to all those locations by simply typing or clicking on that, and you can see where all the different locations are at. Very, very cool. So that is Control F for find. Now, like I said, those were just some of my favorites. And look, we're already at our half-an-hour mark, so it's time to wrap up. Make sure that you're looking for an email to come with all the links for this session, which they are included on my webpage for this new learning series. you will see that you will have access not only to the slide deck that I had everything showing in, that's right here. You're going to get a recording of this video that I'm making right now. It's right there. There's those alt codes that you have in there. I think there's one more thing. I thought I put into what the different video or the different pen tools were. I'll check on that and I'll make sure that I have those links in there as well. And there's really cool Windows 10 cheat sheet. If you're looking for some more information, I love these cheat sheets from Custom Guide. Lots and lots of keyboard shortcuts and how to use your Windows 10. So with that, make sure you look for that wrap-up email, and I want to say thank you to everyone who joined me throughout all of these new learning session times. I still have one more, but it's just for my local staff. So I just want to make sure if you were out in the general public, thanks so much. And if you're watching this video, thank you so much. Hope you learned something. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to help. Have a good one.